Hey everyone, welcome, I'm MisterBo, and Bungie has gone and dropped a brand new 8-minute long ViDoc for the Season of the Drifter, the next DLC coming out on March 5th, and it gives us a good overlook of what we can expect to do in this brand new content drop. So in this video we're going to be taking a look at the ViDoc, breaking it down. I'm going to be going over all of the information you need to know, and we're also going to be taking a look at the roadmap because it was also being updated slightly with the Season of the Drifter. So let's start off with the first thing, which is the story around this content drop. Obviously it's all based around the Drifter, that character, but we also know we're going to be learning a lot of deep lore. We're going to be going into his ship, and it seems like the Drifter is working with the 9, and we'll learn about why that is, hopefully playing through this and collecting lore. Now the Season of the Drifter includes brand new gear, weapons, 2 brand new exotic quests, a new power surge bounty for those of you who are maybe not at 650 yet. This brand new bounty allows you to boost up to 640 within a couple of hours, so if you are maybe slightly behind in your power level or you maybe didn't play Black Armory, these brand new power surge bounties will allow you to get up to the level recommended to play this content. Now the brand new activities in Season of the Drifter are Gambit Prime and the Reckoning. So Gambit Prime is basically a hardcore version of Gambit. There's only one round and there's a lot of new mechanics in it. Firstly, you are able to drain enemy motes. When the primeval spawns at the end of the round, it will have a mechanic similar to that of a raid, where you're going to have to work with your team in order to actually do DPS to the boss before the other team kills their primeval. Now the biggest change is the addition of roles into Gambit Prime. So there are 4 roles which you can pick between, which will help you in certain scenarios. Firstly, we have Reaper, which is focused in towards killing enemy adds. We then have the Collector, who is obviously collecting all the motes and depositing them into the bank. We then have Sentry, who is focusing on taking out blockers and Taken, as well as the primeval at the end. And then finally we have the Invader, who is focused on killing the other players on the other side. Now each of these roles has an armor set which will actually light up with a snake in the color of your role. So at the beginning of a match when you're preparing and you can see the other team, you know exactly what role they are playing. The Reaper is green, the Collector is white, the Sentry is yellow, and the Invader of course is red. Now another new addition to Gambit is that of 2 brand new maps. Firstly, we have New Arcadia, which is set on Mars and it will be available on the first week. And then the following week we'll see Deep 6, which is set on Titan. Of course, with this season being focused on the Drifter and Gambit, we are getting brand new Gambit weapons and armor, which all look very unique. Now, when you complete your first game of Gambit Prime, you will unlock the second activity you can play in this season, and that is called the Reckoning. Now it takes place in the plane of the 9 and it is a pinnacle PvE experience, so it's going to be dropping high level loot. It's not easy, and from the gameplay that we see, it kind of looks like it's going to be a sort of horde mode, maybe mixed in with some sort of objectives, though we aren't really too sure on that at the moment. There will be 3 tiers. You'll have access to the first tier at the start, but through the following weeks you'll earn your way up to being able to play all 3 tiers. Now you'll have a timer running down whilst you're completing this activity, but if you do manage to succeed, you will be rewarded with Gambit Prime armor. So that is the armor that I previously talked about, which will glow up in the color of your role. And we're not entirely sure how this Gambit armor will work. We don't know if maybe it's just one set of armor that has all 4 roles and you go in like a perk and you select the role you want, or you have to wait for the armor with the role you want to drop. We don't know at this point, but I'll be sure to update you guys when we do. So Bungie has kind of created a loop of play here. You play some Gambit Prime, but you want the armor for your role, so you go into the Reckoning, you complete that, you get your rewards, you then go back into Gambit Prime, and then again you go back into Reckoning and rinse and repeat. So those are the 2 brand new main activities in Season of the Drifter, Gambit Prime and the Reckoning. It is also worth noting that Gambit will also have private matches, so you can go in, set up tournaments and play with your friends. Now that's not the only new additions we'll be seeing in this season. We're also going to be getting brand new pinnacle weapons for the Crucible and Vanguard, though we don't get any mention of a brand new Gambit weapon, but I assume that we probably will be. We'll have to wait and see on that. We're getting a brand new spring event, which we already knew about, but we now know it's called the Revelry. We don't know what it's going to include though. The Thorn Exotic Quest will start in week 2, and then near the end of the video we do get a glimpse at the next season, which is now officially called Season of Opulence. We see a lot of imagery which is obviously similar to that of the Leviathan. Whether we're going to be going back to the Leviathan or somewhere else of Emperor Callus's, we'll have to wait and see. But Bungie talks about they now kind of understand how to structure content going forward, having seen the feedback feedback from the Black Armory, and they're implementing that into Season of the Drifter, but also in the content that is supposed to come later. We then get a small clip of Luke Smith, who is obviously the creative director of the Destiny universe, and he talks about they're trying to figure out now what a roadmap for a Bungie controlled Destiny looks like. Obviously Bungie and Activision are no more. I think that's a sign of a good thing, hopefully, and we'll have to wait and see how Bungie now sort of steers Destiny going forwards. So that isn't the only thing I wanted to talk about in this video. We also have a slightly updated roadmap for Season of the Drifter, as well as just a few name changes to certain things. So firstly, the Allegiance quest, which is a brand new quest we'll do in the Season of the Drifter, was previously called the Joker's Wild quest, and this will invite you to choose between the Vanguard and the Drifter. Pick a side to progress through the quest from their perspective. This pledge is character based, so if you have more than one Guardian, you can play both sides. Choose wisely. So that seems like it's going to be a really cool quest. Myself, probably going to pick the Drifter, but it's going to be interesting to see what other people pick. We then have Invitations of the Nine, which was previously referred to as Xur's Bounties. This will be an exploration of the Nine and their mysterious place in the universe. The path begins with Xur on Friday, March 15th. Annual pass owners will be able to pick up an Invitation of the Nine from Xur. Once completed, it will transform into a bounty called Into the Unknown. These will be available to complete once per character, similar to the bounties you got at the beginning of Forsaken for completing activity with a full gear set. Week over week, for 9 weeks, you'll collect new lore and powerful rewards. Again, something else that sounds really cool and interesting. This is obviously where we're going to be learning all about the Nine. And then finally, for annual pass holders, the rest of the Season of the Drifter packs in new combat specialities to embrace and new challenges to master. We get this nice little calendar of Season of the Drifter. So again, on March 5th, Gambit Prime and Reckoning Tier 1 will become available. On March 8th, the Reckoning Tier 2 will become available, and then on March 12th we'll see the second map for Gambit Prime being introduced. On March 12th we'll get the Thorn Quest and the Allegiance Quest. Then on March 15th, Invitations of the Nine and Reckoning Tier 3 will go live. Then on March 19th we'll see Legion's Folly, which is a current Gambit map, be introduced into Gambit Prime. On March 26th we'll see the Emerald Coast, which again is a current Gambit map, being introduced into Gambit Prime. Then on April 2nd, all maps will become available. And then finally on April 9th, we will see something called Arc Week. Not entirely sure what that means. Maybe we'll see some sort of modifier to all quests where arc damage does extra damage and you take more damage. I'm not entirely sure. And then on April 16th to May 6th, we'll see that brand new spring event, the Revelry, which will be available to all players. So there you have it. That is a lot of brand new information for the next season, which again starts on March 5th. I'm really excited. Myself, I'm a fan of Gambit. I really like Gambit, and I can't wait to see how Gambit Prime plays out. Having a full team, being able to go, right, you are the Invader, you're the Collector, I'm going to be the Reaper, and you're going to be the Sentry, and then working together. Or maybe saying, let's all be Collectors, let's all be Invaders, let's have 2 Collectors, let's have 2 Sentries. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's hopefully going to bring a lot of strategy into Gambit. And I'm also excited to learn more about the Nine, probably one of the most interesting lore pieces in Destiny. I can't wait to see what Bungie brings to the lore with the Nine, and maybe we'll get some hints and some teasers about Trials returning, but Bungie has kind of said we're not going to be getting Trials for a couple of seasons. So I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think this is a better step forward from what we saw with Black Armory? Are you excited to play Gambit Prime, or does the Reckoning seem more like your kind of thing? Let me know in the comments below. Of course, when this all does launch, I'll be covering it right here on this channel, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But if you guys enjoyed this video, or if you found it helpful in any way, feel free to give the like button a big old hug. If you have any feedback, leave it down in the comments below. And if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe, and if you do, be sure to boop that bell icon so you're notified when my future videos go live. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.